Yeah, I think my overall take with the Switch is they didn't miss on any of the things that we were hoping for.
I agree.
But then some of the extra stuff on top is like, oh, okay, interesting.
I will take gimmicks on top of everything we wanted. Like, I'm mad at gimmicks when they didn't give us something that we asked for.
Yeah.
Right.
But if they gave us the 4K, bigger screen, 120, all of that stuff, and then give me a gimmick, cool. Like the PS5 controller triggers that have the like different feedback. It's not in that many games.
Yeah.
It's kind of gimmicky.
Yeah.
But you had everything else on the
I
was pumped about
I
it.
wish more games supported that. We've got some Nintendo Switch 2 to talk about, believe it or not.
Surprisingly.
This week, Nintendo fully unveiled, detailed Switch 2 specs, games, compatibility, features, accessories, a whole bunch of stuff, price tag, release date that we hadn't known. So it's all out there now. And people can decide now really if they're going to spend their money on the Switch 2.
It was never an option for me.
I mean, you were always going to spend the money.
That's unfortunate.
But now you know how much money you're in for.
It is
they could have said any number.
Because now it's a little more than I want to spend, but if it was a lot more than I wanted to spend, I'd been like, well, that's how it is.
Well,
You know what I
for
mean?
those wondering, $449. If you were somehow under a rock, if you're
a gamer, you cannot afford this. I'm sorry.
if you were under a rock the past couple days, because didn't we see like 1 million concurrent streams on the
It was
Nintendo
just the
Switch?
US one.
1.2 million concurrent on YouTube during the live stream
For
today.
only the Nintendo US. There was
Yeah.
Nintendo UK, which also had like 200,000 viewers.
They just said Nintendo Switch 2 in it.
That was the whole thing.
I think they used pounds. Probably.
That's the only way it was.
The day we're recording this, so look, I'm trying to immerse myself back in the Switch 1 and really get ready to make this video, but we're recording this on Wednesday, and I'm planning on making a Switch 2 hands-on video tomorrow, on Thursday.
I'm so jealous.
And I'm doing this because lots of people are asking about the Switch 2. It's clearly very popular. But I've been trying to figure out how many people are going to watch the Switch 2 video, and I think now it's going to be a lot.
It's gonna be 15 million.
No, it's not going to be that crazy. I mean, the last crazy video
You're
that was
wrong,
kind
I
of like
guess.
the same vibes was the PS5, because
Yeah.
it's every 7 years or something crazy.
Like 8 years.
And so all the hype gets built up, and then we unboxed the PS5 and it had like 10 million views in 2 days or something.
This will
Minimum
have the
15
same.
million.
It had
Minimum.
1 million. This is the only video I've ever made that had 1 million views in the first hour.
This will get that.
PlayStation 5 unboxing.
This will get that.
So I don't think it's going to be that
I don't know
much,
if it'll be quite as much.
but it should still be interesting to see, how many people are
I'm with
talking about
David.
the PS5 this week.
PS5 also came out 2020. So at the end of COVID, there was
Yeah,
so
that
much
was like
going on, so much
everyone's
happening.
online.
That gained 100,000 subscribers just from that video.
Yeah.
It was crazy. And we made it at 8 o'clock at night.
Yeah, it was just an unboxing. I couldn't even turn it on or do anything. I just unboxed it.
This
Anyway.
will do that.
So this is the hands-on, but what we learned this week was all of the details of all the new things with Switch 2 versus Switch 1. So the price tag is one of them. It's $449. From there, I mean, some basic spec improvements. We don't have like CPU, GPU details, but we have a larger screen, obviously, with a thinner bezel. It's still the same thickness of a console, so it'll just kind of feel like flat and bigger. I love that. It's a 1080p 120 hertz display. It's an LCD.
7.9 inches. Also.
7.9 inch HDR support.
120 hertz.
I
love that.
look, everyone says you don't notice 120 hertz versus 60.
That is not even. Does
And-
anyone say that?
Yeah, because every time we talk about the iPhone, I'm like, it's 60 hertz. I can't believe it's still 60 hertz. And then all of the internet goes, nobody can tell anyway. And now the Switch 2 comes out, and everyone's like, yeah, 120 hertz. I've been waiting for this.
The biggest problem with the iPhone.
So which is
that
it?
It's like the home screen that's 120 hertz on the iPhone, and like most apps are still 60. That's the problem.
No. Most apps are 120. It's like the mapping apps are still 60 and like a couple, but most of the apps are 122. And I noticed that with scrolling through everything and like moving around the UI.
Maybe it's a screen size thing.
Yeah, I mean, on this big of a screen, you got to go 120. I'm just like, for all the people who have been yelling about how nobody notices the difference between 60 and 120, I better not see you buying a Switch 2 for this feature, okay? But it has 120 now, so there you go.
Yeah.
It'll do 4K out to the dock, to a TV, so that's
4K
awesome too.
4K
60.
4K 60.
Okay, that is reasonable though because most TVs do not go over 60
Most of your
hertz.
TVs are 4K.
I know there are some, but most of
interpolation.
them don't.
Yeah.
That you should turn off.
But that's good to see. But the other big new thing, I think, with the Switch 2, aside from that stand, which I think is nice, is the new Joy-Cons. The new controllers are massively updated. First of all, I think my favorite feature is the magnets, how they connect to the side.
How they work.
How the magnets work.
Yeah.
The SLDL buttons, sorry, SR. SR?
The buttons.
What are they called?
Yeah.
SLSR. Those buttons at the top are much bigger. They're also made of steel, metal that interacts directly with the magnets inside of the Switch 2, which is how they stay connected.
That's how they work, yeah.
So they double function as buttons and connecting with magnets.
Unfortunately, we thought that there was going to be a polarity switcher. It is much simpler than that. It is a piece of plastic that pushes it off of it, which is fine.
Totally fine.
It is fine.
They're also they have like bigger buttons. They added a button which is the C button, which is how we can talk about that software feature in a second.
I think the Joy-Cons in general being bigger, just like it was always so cool you could, break a controller to have two controllers, but they were always ergonomically small.
Horrible.
And like you needed to put that extra little like wrist wrap bigger button connector onto it, where this looks way better to play with horizontally detached by itself.
Yeah.
It also has mouse support. So they kept doing this thing where they turned it sideways and put it on a table. And I suppose there's like an optical sensor in it, so you can do things like moving it around, rotating, and there are games that support mouse control with the Joy-Cons. I haven't thought that was a good idea yet, but I want to try it. They were showing a golf game where you could like move the putter around and change the angle. Does that seem cool?
Kind of feels like the most gimmicky part of the Switch to me.
Yeah, I think my overall take with the Switch is they didn't miss on any of the things that we were hoping for.
I agree.
But then some of the extra stuff on top is like, oh, okay, interesting.
I will take gimmicks on top of everything we wanted. Like, I'm mad at gimmicks when they didn't give us something that we asked for.
Yeah.
Right.
But if they gave us the 4K bigger screen, 120, all of that stuff, and then give me a gimmick, cool. Like the PS5 controller triggers that have the like different feedback. It's not in that many games. Yeah. It's kind of gimmicky.
Yeah.
But you had everything else on the I was pumped about it.
I wish more games supported that.
I'm less pumped about the mouse thing than the PS5 controller trigger, but
Huge quality of life update, extra USB-C port on the top. As someone who was just using their Switch for the first time in a while a couple of days ago, and it's dead, it is extremely hard to use at all while it is charging because that's charged from the bottom.
Yeah.
So if you're not playing docked, it's hard. So now you can plug it in from the top. That can also be used to plug in different accessories like the camera, which we will talk about later.
Yeah.
One more thing in terms of if you're playing it standing up like on your thing, the new kickstand has multiple different angles that it can adjust to as well, which is really awesome.
Yeah. The Switch OLED had a new kickstand too that was way better, and it was made of metal.
And
it was very cool.
As good with the same amount of things as the
It went down very, very far,
cool.
kind of like a Surface Pro.
Awesome.
So, yeah.
So, these new accessories are interesting. So, like we said, it has two USB-C ports, so it can be docked, and then on that top USB-C port, you can plug in the Switch 2 camera. And basically, the way I feel like I was watching this video, and Nintendo's just acknowledging that the Switch is a very social console, and there are people who have Switches who are not in the same place, and they can still take advantage of all playing the same game and making it feel as social as possible. We're all used to Zoom and being on these little like video squares, and we all see each other. So you point this camera at yourself, and a lot of Switch 2 games will actually have a feature built in where it will like include your picture over your video game stream as you're playing the game. So if you're playing a game, you can see other people playing the same game or different games at the same time.
Right.
You have a microphone on the top. You can chat with your friends. You can see your friends. Apparently, it's got AI noise cancellation. So if other noises are happening in the room and the Switch is across the room, it can still pick up your voice.
Yeah.
So it's a more social experience. You don't just see the character on the screen, you see your friends with the camera.
Like a big part of the camera is this new feature called Game Chat, which is included if you have Switch Online, but you have to pay for it, unfortunately, after...
Free for a year?
You get the free first year.
Yeah, after like the beginning of next year. But basically what this lets you do, like you were kind of talking about, is it will show your main screen on your screen, but then it also shows the screens of your friends that you're playing with.
Yeah.
And the cool thing, like you mentioned, is that you can be playing the same game and it'll show their games at the bottom. You can also be playing different games. And if you have the camera, it does this sort of like AI cutout thing where it cuts out your head and like stitches it to the corner.
Yeah.
And so it can show your reactions while you're playing Mario Kart or Mario Party. And I think that is really, really important. Like, during COVID, when everyone's playing like Animal Crossing together and Super Smash Bros. Together and stuff, you didn't really have that party experience from like being in person with people and like seeing their reactions. And like that's a huge part of the fun of gaming with people. And so being able to actually see their reactions in their face is very,
I
very
think
cool.
in Mario Party, it's one step further where generally you would have like the little circle next to your character that would show your avatar. Now it just shows straight up your face and your camera feed.
Yeah.
So like attached to your character playing Mario Party, your face is right there. Like that's a awesome way of doing it. I mean, everyone who plays games on like the computer, they're used to having Discord and party chat. I know PlayStation's like incorporated Discord, but this is a first party voice chat all set up inside your system already. And now that you have a camera, you can either play Mario Kart, see everyone's reactions on like the bottom of the screen, like a Zoom call inside of everything, which was brilliant.
It's so awesome. I think it's the closest thing that you can do to actually being in person with people and playing with them in your living room.
And not having to set up a Zoom call on the side, which
I've done.
I'm sure all of us have done. It's pretty annoying.
It sucks. Yeah.
Now they also showed us feature where if you and a friend are both local and you both have a Switch, then you can share a game that only one of you has to the other Switch so you can play it at the same time with them.
Yeah.
Now they showed this kind of like basic, like sort of backgammon looking game. So I'm interested in what other games will end up supporting this, but the idea is, okay, I have a Switch, I have this game, I want you to play with me, but I don't want to break my controller off and hand it to you and we play on this tiny screen because you also have a Switch.
Right.
So I will share essentially some files, some part of the game with your Switch. We're both local, we're on the same network. Now we're both playing on our own Switch, but in the same game.
Yeah.
I think that's cool too.
I think that's very cool.
And we'll see what games end up supporting it. And then the other thing that was kind of big to me, because I've had my Switch for a while, I have a 32 gig Switch, and I didn't buy a micro SD card, so I have 3 games on my Switch, is the base storage is 256 gigs now instead of 32.
Marques tried updating the games the other day, and it just
you
like
don't have
froze.
room.
It said you can update 2 of the games. Pick 2, because the third one, not enough space for that.
Wow.
But now you can put way more games on the Switch. Now the question that we have a lot of unknowns with the Switch, and I'll start to go through those. We don't know how big the new Switch 2 games will be. So 256 gigs is great, but I also assume that Switch 2 games are going to be bigger because they're higher fidelity and they have more graphics, and that might still only be room for 3 games.
Yeah.
But yes, there is still micro SD Express support. You need a faster card because you can still put a card in.
Yeah.
So that's one. Number 2, I haven't heard or read much about battery life. It's still as thin as it was. I assume the battery is a similar size. I don't know if the battery will be significantly better or worse or
taller,
larger.
It is bigger, but
it's a
you have
larger
bigger screen.
system.
So anytime you have a bigger screen and a bigger battery, you end up kind of canceling some of that out. So I don't know if they've made any announcements regarding like fast charging or having a significantly better battery in any way, but I'm wondering about that.
Yeah. I think it'll have better battery life because usually bigger screen, bigger battery, the battery still has an edge. Like if you look at like the iPhone Max, it's a bigger screen, but there's a bigger battery, and it usually has better battery than.
I guess like this screen is so much bigger and brighter potentially.
Yeah,
and higher refresh rate.
And the games, because they added they also added a fan to the dock, so they're kind of acknowledging it's gonna get hotter.
Yeah, so TBD on that.
Yeah.
I guess those are the 2 main unknowns for me. Also, things like durability, Joy-Con drift, any issues that might come up, we'll see.
Yeah, the question is like, are these Hall effects Joy-Cons? That would be a good question because
they didn't say those words.
People were making like Hall effect mods to the Joy-Cons before because the Joy-Con drift was like a major issue. I assume Nintendo would have kind of tackled that problem.
They had to know about it, so I hope so.
Oh my god. They've known about it for a very long time. So hopefully they tackled that. They didn't mention anything about it specifically though, which is interesting.
Yeah.
Are you trying to name the Pokemon on your thing right now?
These are all the ones I know. Yeah.
One of those you didn't know before.
Squirtle.
Blastoise.
Who's the grass one?
Moly.
Roly-poly grass one?
The grass one.
The green one.
He's technically number 1 in the Pokedex.
Oh, green. Wait.
Thanks for watching this clip. Before we tell you to like and subscribe, we are going to have Marques name every Pokemon he can off the dome. Are you ready, Marques?
Starting with Pokedex number 1.
Here we go.
I don't know if he knows number
Pikachu.
1.
Nice.
25.
Snorlax.
Boom.
Charizard, Charmander.
Sweet.
Blastoise. Squirtle.
Yeah.
Okay.
So that's 6.
Grass one.
You named him earlier.
Who's the legendary in the first?
He's kind of freaky and has a pink tail and
Winnie
floats
the Pooh?
around.
No. Wait, what?
There's one of them, and then there's 2 of them.
kind of freaky.
That's it.
It's the sound a cat makes.
meow.
Close.
Wait.
Well,
Say it like Mike Tyson.
Meowzard.
Meowzard.
Meow. Meowmander.
Make sure to like and subscribe for more of this.
If you really want it.
Meowth.
Well, there's Meowth, but I was talking
it?
about.
That's the Mike Tyson one.
I was talking about Mew.
I was talking about Mew.
Oh.
Mewtwo?
And Mewtwo.
No, that's what you
Mewtwo
do when
is
you want
okay.
your
Mewtwo
jaw
is
to
like
look
Heard of
nicer.
Mewtwo.
Mewtwo's a
Yeah.
Pokemon.
Bulbasaur.
Bulbasaur.
I guess we're still going. Thanks for watching.
Is this Naruto?
There's also Mew.
This is every Pokemon I've ever heard of.
There's also
like
Mew.
and subscribe, please.